Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Hannibal is Hungry YouTube channel, the special edition of our live stream with me and my co-host Steve, Beyond the Algorithm, and we have a fantastic guest, Boss Up with K. I've been excited to talk to this man for at least 2 weeks. We actually planned to do this last Tuesday, but then we both discovered it was Valentine's Day. We realized our ladies would not appreciate us hanging out on a Tuesday night for Valentine's Day to talk about gig work. So we had to kind of delay the extra week, but we got it together. So Kevin, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for coming through. I'm excited to talk to you about all things the gig economy. So thank you for coming through.
No, thank you for having me, and I'm excited as you are, man. I've been really jumping on live streams this year, so this is the first one, and you guys helping me out. So I want to provide plenty of value for your audience.
Yes. So I'm gonna put your link up. I'm gonna put your link up. Gonna be in the description below. It's gonna be in the chat, so people could check out your channel. You provide a lot of different types of websites, a lot of different types of apps. I mean, it's so much. It's hard for me to keep up. I'm like, there's so many opportunities. Sometimes we kind of we think that it's not, it's just the apps that we talked about, DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats. And, my goal, at least for the next 6 months, is to try to get people to understand that there's other things out there, websites, apps. I mean, that's what me and Steve kind of came together with the Beyond the Algorithm. There's so much out there that you don't need to be stuck doing one thing. So appreciate you guys already in the chat. Obviously, if you're on the replay, appreciate you guys for checking out. Before we get into it, I want to have one announcement. If you've been checking out Pedro's channel, the rideshare guy, they're talking about this. I guess you would call it a convention, downtown LA on March.
Herbivore.
Thank you, Steve. Herbivore 2023. Now, Pedro hit me up with this. He said, hey, you want to check this out? And what do you think? And I looked through it and I saw a few things. And I was like, hey, listen, you know what? I'm going to book a ticket. I actually booked my tickets today. And I'm excited to go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. It's basically, from what I've been looking and checking it out, it's like an experience to see the future of transportation and delivery. Talking to or having really, really powerful people there, executives from, I see Uber, I saw Walmart, like a lot of very powerful people. And that's in the rideshare business, obviously, the technology business and the restaurant business, and the small business trying to come together to try to make the experience valuable for everyone involved. So, you're gonna be meeting a lot of content creators. Obviously, you're gonna be seeing the rideshare guy. I see Sergio's gonna be there because he's in LA. I've heard that maybe the rideshare professor may be over there. Like,
it's funny you mentioned the Walmart thing, because last night David from Para and I did our Para weekly thing, and he's speaking on that panel, and he's like, I don't know why they put me on this one. I'm like, he's on with like 3 executives from Spark or something. I don't know.
It seems like it's going to be a very, really cool experience. Obviously, apparently going to be some fantastic food there. The tickets are only $5. So it's Herbivore. I'll put the link in as well. Herbivore.co. March 3rd starts at 8 o'clock all day outdoors. It's going to be fantastic food. You're going to be seeing a lot of really powerful people in the industry. And the reason why I'm excited, obviously, just to meet, some content creators, hanging out with Pedro. I hung out with Pedro in St. Louis. But to see what's the future, because I see some automation segments and some people coming from that industry. What is the future for gig work? Because I believe Sergio talked about this earlier in his podcast. He wants more gig workers, and I invite more gig workers need to come. It can't just be the executives, the big wigs, right? The executives and the restaurateurs and those people. We need gig workers going there to say, hey, what's going on? What's the future here? Because automation is happening, or we'll see how far it is. We'll check it out. But talking to, I think they have some executives from Walmart, the Walmart Spark, Uber, some CEOs from restaurants. So it's a lot of really cool people coming through, and it's going to be delicious food there. And you're going to see Pedro. People love Pedro. So $5 to get in March 3rd, downtown LA. Actually, it's interesting.
Will people in LA love Pedro?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see, because it's a new experience for everyone involved. but I think it's a great time to, network, make connections, and see what's going on. I mean, I think, these, is it Rideshare? Is it Harry?
Yeah,
kind of one of the guys who's putting this together.
Yeah.
So, so I want to see exactly. And I haven't met Harry yet, so that'd be cool to meet him in person.
This is pretty much. I mean, there's been years past too. This is, I think, the second or third one, but this is pretty much Harry's event.
Awesome. So, we're gonna be doing that, and they have a special event for Pedro. Have lunch with Pedro. So that's gonna be, I think, around 1:00. So check it out. I'm gonna put more information on the links below. I'm trying to figure it out right now, but I've got too much links all over my computer right now. But yeah, Herbivore, I'll be there. I'll be there for 2 days. It's gonna be a whirlwind. It's gonna be fantastic. So yeah, I pushed all that out just to let you guys know what I'm gonna be doing really soon. I mean, this February is always like the quickest month of the year to kind of blow past everything. So enough of me rambling. Let's talk about you, Kevin. Tell us about how you got into. I know we was on the phone. You kind of broke that down when we talked a couple of days ago. But what was your origin story to the gig economy? How did you end up making videos on YouTube about it?
Okay, so of course, probably with most people, Uber and Lyft were kind of my first foray or journey into the gig economy. Back in 2014, I had a vehicle that I got listed on Uber, and it got delisted maybe like 3 months later because it said of the age, it got outside the age limit of required vehicles. Like I said, that's where I started. I loved it. I was making good money back then. That was kind of the real early ages of Uber, and they get in the airport, and there was creating the airport lanes at Hartsville, being one of the busiest airports in the country, and I was living real close to it, so I was getting a lot of rides going back and forth from there, and that just kind of opened my eyes. But in between time, I'm into IT, so I do a lot of IT contracting, and then in between my IT contracting, I might have like a month, 2 month, 3 month layoff. So in between those times, I fill in with the gig economy, and I do, started Uber and started, food sharing, delivery. This was probably 2018. Where I had probably my longest layoff. I had like a year-long layoff for working. So I started doing Uber and food delivery full time. And then at that time, I kind of started finding some of the other ones where you can like deliver packages. VHO was kind of coming on at the time where I started with them. So I kind of started package delivering. And then I kind of got into the medical courier in 2019. And it just kind of, after I saw that, and I just started doing my research, like, what else is out here, man? I got medical courier, I can do food. And then I just started doing Google searches. And that's kind of what led me to creating this channel and sharing, some of the things I was finding in different areas where I wasn't in. Like, man, I wish I was in North Carolina because this app is only here. But so I just started sharing with other people, and here we are, boss up.
Oh, that's awesome. You kind of started much earlier than definitely me. I think Steve's a little bit of an OG as well. Has been there in the game for a while, but I think, is that how all the progression is, Steve? Where you kind of start with one app, and then you're like, all right, what's going on here? And then what's going on here? And then eventually you may have a cargo van a couple of years later. You're doing so, like, that seems like that's the progression. I don't know if anyone just stays doing one thing in the gig economy, at least in terms of rideshare. Like you eventually move on to other apps, right?
I've still seen some people who still doing Uber, pretty consistently over the years, but they kind of progress, and they progress to electric car, Tesla, and they kind of do it more full time that way, and they kind of get different cars, get larger vehicles. It's kind of what I did. After I had my third child, I got an SUV, got a Durango with a third row, and then that's around time I would start doing it full time. So that getting that XL, getting those extra Uber fares, and then plus that's when Uber came out with Uber Comfort. So if your car was in a newer, within 3 years old, I got the Uber Comfort ride. So that was really incentivized me to start doing a lot more, driving in that range. Even before I got my cargo van.
Yeah, for me, I got on rideshare in Denver in 2015. I only did rideshare through 2019. I didn't see a reason to go into food. Pre-pandemic, food was dead here. You couldn't make any. Even Grubhub had the best model. They were, they had a waiting list, so they were only onboarding the amount of people they really needed. It wasn't pure oversaturation from day one, but they all seemed dead. Nobody was really doing food delivery, and the people who were weren't making Like now it's a much different ratio, even post-pandemic, because they weren't even making a fifth of the downgraded pay that I was in 2019 doing rideshare. They weren't making a fifth of that doing delivery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the current situation, and I guess before we kind of jumping into the cargo van, a lot of people are, suffering. They're not making the amount of money doing the food delivery and ride share like they used to, or our expectations are different because we came in, at least most of us came in during the pandemic in the 2020, where people were making like you could make really good money relatively easy. It didn't matter where you were. It seems like everyone was doing well. Now things are a little bit more difficult. And the question comes to, should I quit? Should I, should I go back to W2 life? Is it the apps? Is it me? Is it the market? Like, Kevin, when someone comes to you with that question, what's your response when they have like, hey, my market, like I'm on DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, it's dead out here. I'm not making any money. What would you recommend them to do?
Well, like I said, location. I did a video about this. People come to me about apps not being in the market, oversaturation, but it's definitely, all depends on your market. Here in Atlanta, food delivery is, everybody's single, young here. So it makes sense to do a lot of food delivery here. Ride share makes sense. There's a big car culture in Atlanta. Everything is far. So you need a car to get around. Public transportation not readily available in most of the metro areas. So, it just depends on your city. And now coming from a major city like this, gig economy is plentiful. A lot of things are becoming oversaturated. The same apps, the same on-demand apps are becoming oversaturated. But some of the key ones, the big players, the Ubers, the Lyfts, they have plenty of work for you. So that's what I tell people, stick with the ones that are paying you, and then fill in the gaps, with some of the other ones that are not as, I guess, plentiful, or the jobs are not as, readily available for you in your area. Well, if not, you got to pick up and move. A lot of these times, especially in the Northeast, most of these major cities are an hour and a half, 2 hours apart. And if you really want to get it in between and just kind of, start moving like that. But if you really want to take it serious, and you just got to do that, or peak times versus non-peak times. A lot of times people want to drive during the daytime when the kids out in school. That's what's convenient for them. If you get out at night, or some of the later times, just during dinner time, or some of the club and partying time in your city, you can make a lot of money with raised rates and higher fares during peak and surge times on these apps. So you just got to pick and choose your times and pick and choose your locations.
Yeah.